Welcome to the 10-Second Film School. I'm Prof. Linus. Thanks for tuning in. Well, who knows if this TikTok ban will stick, but I guess this is a sign to stop with the doom scrolling and get back to some old-fashioned viewing and writing. I thought I'd try something different today and publish an easy-to-digest presentation on how to analyze movies and how to write about them, which is what this entire channel is really about. It's a short one, and I hope you enjoy it. In this video, I want to scale back to basics a bit and address the pursuit of analyzing movies and movie makers. Since you all are invariably watching this movie because you are a film researcher yourself, I thought I would do a movie on how to analyze movies, which can be just as important as figuring out what to analyze in movies. In this short essay, I'll be speaking about a movie's mise-en-scène, and then a brief thought on how to analyze mise-en-scène by looking at an artwork's style. Mise-en-scène, of course, refers to the visual elements in front of the camera, the visual material that fills the rectangular area of the visual plane. A professional filmmaker does not let the visual elements dictate the message. The filmmaker intentionally places or designs the visual elements that you, the spectator, watches. The mise-en-scène refers to real-life elements in the pro-filmic space that is converted to visual data by way of a camera, the visual meat of a film. Film analysis, or rather writing about films, is a challenging task. It's sort of like writing about a painting, or a series of paintings. How do we even put into words how we feel about a movie? What words should I use? Hopefully I will impart some tips here that will make your journey as a film theorist or a film writer a productive one. I'm going to now share a quote with you, and this is one of my favorite quotes from the film analysis world by writer Robert Spadoni. If you've been a student of mine, I have no doubt shared a quote of his with you before. In his 2014 Pocket Guide to Analyzing Movies, he suggests this: stylization is a matter of degree. What does he mean by this? Are we to say that there are films out there that have a lot of style, and the opposite of this are films that have no style? Well, not entirely. What Dr. Spadoni means when he says stylization is a matter of degree is that when we look at specifics of a particular film's or artwork's look or mise-en-scène, any element can be looked at as more or less stylized. Even when we look at observational documentaries, or docudramas, or mockumentaries, an absence of style can be its own style. Spadoni's assertion is that stylization exists on a grand spectrum, with less stylized on one side and more stylized on the other. But what if we just don't know what to say about something, which can happen? What if you just don't know what to say? Okay, let's simplify this by looking at two objects using Robert Spadoni's idea. Let's analyze this image of a car. What can we say about this vehicle? If you know a lot about cars, probably quite a lot. You could comment on its utility, that it's great for road trips. We could comment on its build, that it's probably very reliable and sturdy. Maybe it's a vehicle you could take on a road trip or use to help your friend move, but not a car you would use for racing. If you don't know much about cars, you could probably find yourself at a loss as to what to say. Now let's introduce an image of another car. Which car is more stylized? Well, the answer is that they're both stylized, really. Both possess a style. The car on the left is functional, rugged, useful, and it's got 4 doors. The car on the right is a 2-door, probably less useful for hauling large objects, but probably more useful for other things. You could probably make the observation casually that the car on the right might be more capable of sudden acceleration than the one on the left. Now let's look at a more extreme example. Both of these pictures depict a dog, and while I'm inclined to adopt the one on the left, one can argue that the depiction of the dog on the right is much more stylized. It's fantastical, otherworldly, and begets conversation. It is a stylized version of a dog in that it's a departure from our expected understanding of how a dog is supposed to be depicted. And what this artist is doing with the dog is simply what filmmakers do with reality. They enhance it. They see reality and give their own take. So, to make any observation, it is helpful to compare one thing to another. After all, it is what empirical scientists do, and to think and write critically about film, we ought to think as a scientist might. Now, of course, what this quote means is not to say that stylization is only a matter of degree. In the film world, there are abundance of great artists that transcend their art and whose name probably belongs before the word style. But their names and their artworks fall on the spectrum that Spadoni suggests nonetheless. Artworks made by even the most obscure of artists deserve acknowledgement. Today, buying art or buying a performance of an art is more than just a simple economic transaction. You are also often buying one's opinion about that art, at the same time. Sometimes it's the artist's own opinion of their work. The next time you're tasked with making observations about art, think about the piece outside of its commercial and political uses, and just think of how that art style differs from something else you may have seen before. Hi everyone. If you like what you saw, please follow me using the social media links you see on the screen. If you wish to show more support, I will put a link to my Patreon page below, as well as a link to purchase my new classroom textbook. Thank you so much for your support, and don't forget to subscribe.